These are the Winnipeg Jets hockey team. The news from Winnipeg is I don't know. Let's see. News about Jets. We don't know. Okay. This is also like Reebok. So news from Reebok. No. No. No, we're not going to get too far into helping anybody understand what's going on again today. So if you even see this video, it simply means that we are checking in with our sources to see if there's any new things to be released with disclosures, and no is the answer so far. News from the world of sports. No, we're not going to get anything from them. How about news from the extraterrestrials that play? No news. No, we're not going to get any lectures about Brazil or from Brazil. Just because we're not going to give you anything today. Don't bother, we're not going to be here tomorrow to ask. It's just that, I've been watching for real news that's not this fake news that Donald Trump made us all aware of. This manufactured news that it's the same thing every day for years and years, the same patterns of the same everything that comes on the news. There's never anything actually new. Everything is recycled on the news. Over and over again, the same kind of political dramas that we saw years ago on, things like The West Wing. It was like if you didn't get enough of the presidential news at 6:30, you could always tune in at 9 or 10 o'clock and watch President Bartlett be the president, better than the real president. But, we're all tired of the same thing because, while no one wants to tell you that well, I don't know how to ever put it to anybody other than, this is just, the news from Australia is, the Australians look very fit and not too tan, like not too dark of a tan, but they do look tanned. It looks like summer kind of weather, and it looks like the Australians are not social distancing or wearing masks. And where I live, we've gone into even tighter lockdown. If they were ever going to convince everybody to take the vaccination, all they got to do is just turn it up to, like level red. And, it's been like so long. And, it's just that I said today, we're getting like 85 new cases a day. And we're in lockdown. And I'm telling people, it's just like what they used to say about gun control. The honest people will comply with gun control and turn in, the banned weapons. But the criminals are never going to pay attention to gun laws. And it's the same way with these lockdowns. Is like, the law-abiding people are in total lockdown, while the, who are the criminals? Well, I see airplanes flying. I see airplanes flying every day, commercial airliners flying. I see private jets flying. So there is an elite group of people, I'm going to call them the criminals, who are not staying home. They are carrying on business with usual. And I'm serious. If this is going on and on and on, then we need a lockdown. And, it's never going to happen because the criminals are just like the criminals with guns. They always manage to get their hands on guns. They always do. The criminals always do. And it's always going to be that way for the elite who are not going to follow your lockdown rules. They're always going to find a way to get around these lockdown rules. They don't want to participate. So then what do? They just turn the screws even tighter on us. So how do we get out of this problem? Well, primarily we still have us, members of us, who believe in these lockdowns and tightening them down. These are the people that we call, they have a differing opinion than I do. A little lockdown is better than, or, like 90% lockdown is better than no lockdown at all, because, the 90% of the people aren't going to be getting infected, and you're not going to crowd your emergency room with, and, intensive care with all of this problems. So you're still helping. And even these other ones, yeah, but the problem is that, well, it's never a problem. I mean, at least they're keeping people alive. Yeah, but it's just no, you just don't understand. It's like, we have to go and we've got to look after the herd, the herd mentality and the herd vaccination, and we've got to make sure that we've got herd immunity. So, you're part of the herd because you're the same species as us. So, you can't just opt out. So there you have it, and that is exactly what's going on. And meanwhile, the years tick by, and we'll have a vaccine for this. I know, but then what's the next thing that's going to be released on us? They're going to keep calling it a new variant, or are they going to say, oh, this is a completely different thing? This is Zika 2. This is Ebola 99. This is Spanish flu nouveau riche. It's just like endless things that they're going to be able to use based upon, well, we've already done it once. We're never going to have the common cold because it's going to be considered a relative, and the common cold now is going to cause us to be calling a pandemic. Because really, technically, every year, the common cold and the influenza A, B, or C was a pandemic, and we never locked down the world for those things. And they did kill people. Everybody knows that people will, some people are going to succumb to something because it's just, in their soul contract that this is an exit point in their soul's journey where they can exit from the body. And we call it death, and it's a horrible, horrible thing, but it happens to everybody on the planet, except for the people who are walk-ins. Like they just maybe beam down from one of those hidden ships that are orbiting Earth or orbiting Venus, and they just have a long range transporter beam from planet to planet. This was shown in Star Trek: The Original Series, where there was somebody who did, and then K-Pax did long range transporter. 1 minute he was there, next minute he was gone. That was a movie with Kevin Spacey. So all you got to do is just look in your database of sci-fi kind of things to realize that, how are you going to know if someone just beamed in around the corner, or they've been here on the planet and they were actually born here? I'm just saying, nobody ever brings up these subjects, but how are you going to know if they beamed in or not? You just met them in the pub. I'm going to tell you the strangest thing is these very hard to explain situations where you have strange connections. In other words, you live in a very large city, and somehow somebody from a very small city is related to somebody that you know in your city. I don't know. I'm not really being able to explain this properly. And we want to just remind you that starting something new is always a good idea. So it's just weird things, like it's beyond coincidence. It's to the point where you think, this sounds more like the Truman Show. Like it's a coincidence, and it's like you expect me to believe this is a coincidence when the truth of the matter is maybe you were running out of actors that day and you had to use somebody that had been used previously, and you just wanted to keep the story tight and find some interesting way to bring back a character. But I don't know. It's just too weird. It's like when you remember me talking about Dolores Cannon and the Backdrop people. Those are like they're just holographic characters, like what you see in the holodeck on Star Trek. They were created by the computer, and they're, you know, the problem when I started looking at all these Star Trek things is like, you have to know these episodes with the holodeck where the characters, they're not like real born humans. They interact with you as if they are human. They feel human when you're in the holodeck. They look human. They talk human. But they are creatures of a vastly advanced computer system. Now, this is what I have to try to tell you. It's very difficult. Uh, what's to say that me, who, I was told I was born, I don't remember being born as a baby, but I was told that that I was a baby and whatever, but how do you know that this wasn't all just a holographic reality? What I am is just like something in the holodeck, and you think you're living on planet Earth, but um, this is a holodeck, and everything that goes on in here is a holodeck. Or maybe you were just moved from a real planet Earth. At some point, you were put into a holodeck version of the Earth, and you never knew it. Because it was that good of a holodeck that you couldn't tell the difference between the reality outside and inside of the holodeck. What difference does it make? Well, it just goes to question as to, the nature of quantum nature of, what it is that we're manifesting here, that we're calling us, this physical body, and the personality mind, and all the emotions that it has, and how it expresses itself, and the idea that somehow, I don't know. I need a new hat. Okay, news from the Queens. The Queens only want to remind you that they are the most powerful chess piece. If you don't know chess, the king can only move one space from where he is on a turn, whereas the queen can move as far as she can go, horizontal, vertical, or diagonally from where she is. So she's far more valuable chess piece than a king as far as doing movements and things. And what makes it doubly strange is that the king, when the king can't move without being taken, then the game is lost. Even if you've got a perfectly good queen. So it's kind of a strange quirk in the rules of chess. And in the rules of what we're telling you these days, we want to remind you that we are still looking for real news. Real news. The kind of news that makes you jump for joy and say, oh my God, the war is over, and it really is over, because the war that we're in now is still a war primarily to do with what's going on that's keeping our freedom limited. And how many of these stories and narratives are we going to have to go and convince everybody are fake before we get freedom? Or are we going to simply continue to take the blue pill, which continues to keep us deeply embedded in the matrix, unaware that we are living in the matrix? If you're not sure what I mean by the matrix, then you can go back on Netflix and watch one of the Matrix movies, with Keanu Reeves and various others.